everyone, it's Jules and I'm so excited to be partnering with the Icelandic Bathing Culture Exhibit in order to bring you an ultimate guide of this beloved tradition and practice in Iceland of gathering at Icelandic swimming pools. Did you know that modern Icelandic bathing culture, or at least what the country has been known for around the world, especially places like the Blue Lagoon, only started in the early 20th century. Yes, while there have been, of course, geothermal hot pools and different hot springs that naturally occur in the country since before anyone lived here, Icelanders did not come to communal spaces like these types of facilities, until the early 1900s. Let's head over to the exhibit because they do an amazing job of showcasing how Icelandic bathing culture came to be the awesomeness that it is today. I'm here at the Hönnunarsafn, which is the Icelandic Design Museum, and this is where the bathing culture exhibition is housed. So as you go inside, you'll see that there is an area where people who are makers here in Iceland have things set up and might actually be working on things as they're here. And then the museum itself is upstairs. What I especially love is that it's very interactive. So there are different stations in which you can go and listen to things regarding facts about the bathing culture. You can read, you can play around with some of the different areas. It's really family friendly. There's beautiful maps and pictures. One thing I find so fascinating that I learned at this museum is that there was a gold rush in Iceland, a failed one unfortunately. Only a very small amount of gold was found. But digging or drilling for more gold is actually what made it possible for Icelanders to find more geothermal water deep in the earth in order to pipe to people's homes. So this was in the early 1900s. It was not just this normal thing like it is now for people to have geothermal water piped to their homes, because it would take really special equipment like these types of drills in order to get to the sources, so boreholes in essence, to make it possible to then pipe the water out. So bathing culture in Iceland has many layers to how it got started, and one of them being that there was a failed gold rush. At first, the three main purposes of Icelandic swimming pools, or swimming facilities at least, were to basically preserve people's lives, so teach them how to swim. The other was physical education, and the last was hygiene. And this is something that I talk about in the do's and don'ts in terms of hygiene here when you go to a swimming pool, because it is taken so seriously. But later on, it turned into a lot more about leisure, comfort, relaxation, and enjoyment of other people's company in the pool if you want, or of course, just soaking by yourself and enjoying the amazing geothermal water that is soothing your muscles. In order to really activate your smelling senses here, they even have something called pool perfume, which when you take this up and you smell it, you actually get what would be, the smell of a pool here in Iceland. So let's have a try. That is very strong. I do not recommend breathing in deeply. Whew, wow, yeah. My brain is very awake right now, and that is intense, but also super fascinating. So keep that in mind when you come. Try this with a little bit of caution. Of course, course, there's a ton more to learn at the exhibit, but another fact I really wanted to share that I think is amazing is Icelandic Parliament deemed it so important for Icelanders to learn how to swim that in 1925 they passed a law saying that teenagers had to have mandatory swimming lessons at school. And by 1940 this became national school curriculum even for younger kids. And there were specifically though 2 strokes that were emphasized and still to this day are emphasized. So I'd love to hear in the comments which 2 strokes that you either guess at or maybe you know are ones that Icelanders learn as they're going through swimming lessons at school. Many people, regardless if they've been to Iceland, have heard of its famous Blue Lagoon, which its humble beginnings started in the 80s when a man named Valur basically was bathing in the warm runoff water, this blue water that you see today from a nearby geothermal plant, in order to soothe his psoriasis. And that later, of course, was developed more into what you know now. And what is so fascinating to me is that the commercialization of Icelandic relaxation in hot tubs and all these different types of activities that you can do, such as even floating in water and feeling weightless and meditating, all these things, really is something that's part of the early 21st century. This is so recent in Icelandic history, and yet it's such a big part of the identity of the country, or even the experiences that people talk about when they say they've been to Iceland. So as you can see at this exhibit, there are tons of things for people of all ages to learn, interact with. All of your senses definitely get used. It's awesome to come here. I highly recommend it. So link in the description box in order to check it out. But now we're gonna move on to the do's and don'ts if you're going to be visiting an Icelandic swimming pool or spa so that you can maximize having an amazing time, relaxing, going for a swim if you feel like it, or even just interacting with the locals. The do's and don'ts of Icelandic swimming culture are pretty simple, which is nice. And I'm just gonna start off with the do's. The first being, do visit a local swimming pool. Yes, the spas in Iceland are amazing, but so are the local swimming pools. We are here at Laugardalslaug, which is in Reykjavik. It's the largest pool in the city. And as you can see, there's a multitude of things that you can do. There are different hot tubs where you can soak away your stress or achy muscles. You can feel like a kid and go down the slide. You can of course do laps or go into one of the saunas or steam rooms. In my opinion, for the cost, you have pretty nice, almost luxury-like facilities. My other do is when you're in one of the hot tubs, do strike up a conversation with one of the locals. In my opinion, this is one of the best places to meet an Icelander because they hang out here all the time. So people who always ask me this question, where can I meet Icelanders? Come to a local swimming pool. And now for the don'ts. The number one don't whenever you come to an Icelandic swimming pool, whether it's a spa or a public facility, is do not get into the pool without showering naked first. This is essential. Another don't is don't bring your towel outside. Now I know that is a reflex for many people, but Icelandic weather can change from being bright and sunny to rainy to snowy, and your towel will get really wet potentially. So there are racks inside when you're taking a shower. Leave your towel there. It will be fine. Just know that if you come out with a towel, you'll definitely look like a tourist and potentially go in with a really soaking wet towel. And my last don't is, of course, don't miss out on the Icelandic Bathing Culture Exhibit. This exhibit, as I showed, is interactive, fun for everyone of all ages, and shows how Iceland went from creating facilities based on survival to now fostering well-being and strengthening community. And I want to give a special shout out to Laugardalslaug for allowing me to film here, as well as, of course, to the exhibit for partnering with me on this video and guide for you. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who you think would find it interesting. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.